Welcome to Nitrate. This is in response to a video I was shown. The video is an analysis of Rogue One by one Chris Stuckmann. I have to say I'm not overly familiar with his work. I was told the analysis was condescending and disrespectful, so I decided to see what it was all about. I'm forced to agree. So I thought I'd offer a response as someone who liked Rogue One. Full disclosure, I've only seen that video, his original Rogue One review, and then his Force Awakens review for further information. Now, the analysis itself is framed by footage of people loving The Phantom Menace upon release, a now derided film. Stuckmann suggests that Rogue One supporters are having the same premature reaction. He's particularly hard on Star Wars fans, something I admit I'm not, suggesting they're just fanboying over this movie. The tone in the review is condescending, as though his opinion is superior to those who like the film. Of course, that included most of the general public and most critics. He does this by saying that if you like Star Wars just for the action, then you'll like this film, which sounds as though he is talking down to whoever liked it. But let's take a look at his actual points and why the film is underwhelming, according to him. Well, first off, I don't disagree with every point. The film is not perfect, but some of his points feel a little misguided. I hope that doesn't sound condescending. I don't mean it to be. Okay, first, what do I agree with? The first act of the film is a bit jumbled with too many settings in so short of time, and the film probably should have found a way to get the characters together sooner. That's a fair point, but hardly truly destructive for the film. The second being the brain squid scene. That was indeed strange and unneeded. Third being the CGI recreations, which indeed went into the uncanny valley. Okay, now the disagreements. The first being a lack of credit given. He basically handwaves any visuals in the film other than the negative. He doesn't mention the strength of the action, which is some of the best in Star Wars. He doesn't mention the strength of the cinematography and the direction of so many sequences. Such moments should not be handwaved. Film is a visual medium, and almost acting like the good action and staging is just a given is a mistake, I feel. The same goes for hand-waving the acting, to the point that he says he prefers Revenge of the Sith over this film, despite this film having better acting. That's an understatement, as it goes from the abysmal acting of Revenge to the good acting in this film. That adds a lot to a film. It actually can add character where it may be lacking, in the writing and in general. Makes the characters more compelling. I felt the acting was quite strong around the board, except for Forrest Wheezy Whitaker. Everyone else, though, really added more emotional depth to the material, which I will get to further in a moment. Okay, the main point, though, comes in the heaviest criticism, which is in character development. He does note that there is background and history given to the relationships and the characters, but he hand-waves with the words, only what we're told. Now, that could be a case for a lot of film characters, even in Star Wars itself. We're told about Han Solo's problems with Jabba, and his Kessel Run prowess, and the fact that he's friends with Chewie Chewbacca. We're told Obi-Wan fought in the Clone Wars, and we're told that Princess Leia is a rebel spy. Exposition in Star Wars is nothing new. Now here we are given a story to each of the characters, which are amplified by the acting. Diego Luna brings the sort of intensity for a man who's been through war his entire life. Donnie Yen brings the purity of belief and cheer at the Force believer, which contrasts well against Zhang Wen's cynical approach to Baze. Together they create that separation, but also find the underlying chemistry that still creates a sense of camaraderie between the men, alluding to a long friendship. Alan Tudyk is downright hilarious with his impeccable comedic timing as K2SO, which had so much fun with the idea of the reformed droid. Writing is there, and his good acting amplifies it all the more. He focuses criticism, though, on Jyn Erso, which is problematic. To explain. The reason being, the film isn't about Jyn as Star Wars was about Luke Skywalker. Rogue One is about the mission to get the Death Star plans. Star Wars is about Luke's journey into becoming a hero. They are technically in two different types of film. The men on the mission against the hero's journey. Jyn's story supplements the mission to get the plans, while destroying the Death Star supplements Luke's heroic journey. Rogue One shares more in common with The Seventh Samurai, often heralded as one of the greatest films of all time for a reason. Rogue One has the same type of emphasis on the emotional importance of the mission and how the characters relate to it, and we learn about the characters through that emotional connection and reaction to the mission. Stuckmann shows a series of clips showing how certain heroes would be if they had Jyn's story. Neo, Luke, Anakin, Batman, and Batman Begins. These films are about those heroes' journeys. Jyn's film is not about that. Though in his rush, I think he might have missed one. Oh, there was no training there, but hey, I'm not here to dig Force Awakens, the film Stuckmann apparently loves. I'm not saying he's fanboying over that film. That would be condescending. It's his opinion. He's entitled to it. Back to Jyn, though. Like Toshio Mifune's Samurai and Seven Samurai gets involved in the mission fully formed, but through that mission, we learn about their state as a person. In the mission, we learn of Jyn and her conflicted feelings towards her father and her world-weary view, which are also resolved through the mission. The mission is the film. The mission is the story in this one. There's nothing wrong with that because that is just as the focus was in Seven Samurai, was the mission of the samurai defeating the bandits for the starving villagers. Rogue One works as that type of film. It's not as good as Seven Samurai, but it is good, and I'm sure people will continue to feel that way in years to come.